Greetings everyone. We are Group 5 and we're here to present our project entitled Scholarship Evaluation System. This program evaluates a student's scholarship eligibility based on their average grade, annual family income, and extracurricular activities.
Greetings sir, my name is Manny C. Ferrer from Group 5 1CSB. This part of the presentation covers the purpose and the demonstration of the student scholarship evaluation system. The purpose of this system is to help to determine whether a student is eligible for a scholarship based on the student's average grade, annual family income, and the number of extracurricular activities. After the required information is entered, the program evaluates the data and displays the scholarship result. For the demonstration, the program first asks the user to enter the student's name, average grade, annual family income, and the number of extracurricular activities. Once all the required information has been entered, the program processes the inputs and displays the student's information, scholarship status, and then the scholarship amount. For an example is the entered values are an average grade of 95, an annual family income of 18,000 pesos, and 5 extracurricular activities. After processing these inputs, the program displays the corresponding result. The detailed explanation of the scholarship validation, computation, and program logic will be discussed in the following parts of the presentation. That concludes the purpose and demonstration of the student scholarship evaluation system. Thank you.
Greetings everyone. Greetings sir. So let's talk about buffered reader and why did we use it. So we used buffered reader to receive input from the keyboard, and it also allows the user to enter values such as their name, the average grade, annual family income, and number of extracurricular activities. So as you can see in this line, input stream reader system.in connects the program to the keyboard, while the buffered reader reads the user's input efficiently. Since buffered reader reads data as a string, we convert numerical inputs. For example, we use whole numbers. We do integer that parse int. And for decimal numbers, we use double that parse double. So let's go to the try-catch block. So we use the number format exception and the IO exception. In the number format exception, we use that to see if the user's input is a string or a letters. So if he puts a letter instead of numbers, the try-catch block will detect it, and it will display an error message, and the value will be set to default or the original value, which is 0. And the IO exception E determines if the reading of the code or the input becomes an error. So it will also display an error message and set the value to default. So that's all. It prevents us from putting anything that is not included in the calculations. So in that way, there won't be an unexpected error. So that's it. Thank you everyone, and thank you for listening.
Moving on to the variables within our our program, we have the first off, we have a name, a variable for the name, so we know what. So the user can input their own name. Then we have the next tree, which is used for calculating, which is very crucial in calculating what kind of scholarship they will get. That being their annual income, the extracurricular activity, and their grade. Moving on to the next set of variables we have we have used the invalid. We have a variable named invalid, amount, eligibility, and scholarship amount. So invalid just double checks if the value within the annual income, grade, and extracurricular activity is valid for scholarship or for earning a scholarship. And eligibility checks if you are eligible for scholarship and sets what kind of scholarship based on your input, based on your extracurricular activity, your grade, and your annual income. And moving on to amount, the amount sets how much money the scholarship will give you based on the tier that was set on eligibility. So tier 1 being 1,000, or how much is this? 10,000, and tier 2 being 8,000. Moving on to lastly, we have scholarship amount, which is basically just the same which is basically just amount plus 2,000 based on how many extracurricular activity you have. So for every extracurricular activity you have done past the second one, the program will add 2,000 to your scholarship. And that is all for the program header and the variables within our program. We will be moving on to the next part of our presentation, and I will pass it on to the next person. Thank you for listening.
Greetings everyone. Today I will explain the scholarship validation process. In this step, the system validates the data entered by the user before proceeding with the scholarship evaluation. It checks whether the average grade, annual family income, and the number of extracurricular activities contain valid values. If any of these values is less than 0, the system recognizes the input as invalid. Instead of continuing to evaluation, it displays the message, "Please enter valid requirements." At the same time, the system automatically sets the scholarship amount to 0 pesos. This validation process is important because it prevents invalid data from affecting the scholarship evaluation. It also helps ensures that the program produces accurate and reliable and fair results. As for the code we use for the average grade, this code reads the user's input for the average grade using reader.readline. Since readline accepts input as a string, integer.parseInt converts it into an integer so it can be used in calculations and comparisons. The next line was the ternary operator. It checks whether the entered grade is greater than 99. If it is, the program automatically sets the grade to 99. Otherwise, it keeps the original value entered by the user. This prevents grade higher than the maximum allowed value from being processed. And as for the code we use for the extracurricular activities, this code reads the number of extracurricular activities entered by the user and converts it from a string to an integer using integer.parseInt. The next line uses the ternary operator, then checks if the entered value is greater than 10. If it is, the program automatically changes it to 10. Otherwise, it keeps the user's input. This ensures that the number of activities does not exceed the maximum limit set by the system.
Hello, good evening. Pag-uusapan natin ngayon is yung scholarship computation na ginawa namin. Kung saan gumamit kami ng ternary operator bilang mas maikling paraan ng paggawa ng if-else. Halimbawa, kapag ang user ay naglagay ng grade na higit sa 100, automatic kong isiset ng ternary ang grade sa 100 dahil iyon ang maximum na valid grade na isinet namin. Ganito rin ang ginawa namin sa extracurricular activities o ECA. Kapag higit Kapag ang user ay nag-input ng higit sa 10, isiset ng ternary ang ECA sa 10 dahil iyon ang maximum na bilang ng activities na isinat namin na pwedeng makatanggap ng additional na scholarship amount. So pagkatapos, ino-compute namin ang starting scholarship amount depende sa scholarship year. Pag ang student ay qualified sa year 1 na kung saan ang grade ay required na 90 pataas at ang annual income ng family ay 20,000 pababa, magiging tier 1 siya at ang starting scholarship ay 10,000. Kapag naman ang grade ay 75 hanggang 89 at pasok pa rin ang income requirement, magiging tier 2 siya na may starting scholarship na 8,000. Pagkatapos makuha ang starting amount, saka ina-add ang bonus para sa extracurricular activities. Ang unang dalawang activities ay requirement lamang at walang dagdag na scholarship. Simula sa ikatlong activity, dadagdagan ng 2,000 pesos bawat ECA gamit ang formula na ECA minus 2 times 2,000. Dahil nakalimit ang ECA sa 10, kahit mag-input na ang user ng 12 o 15, tuturin pa rin itong 10. Kaya kahit ganoon man yung input ni user, kung gaano kalaki yung amount kapag 10 lang yung extracurricular activities is ganoon pa rin yung magiging amount niya kahit lagpas na sa 10 yung extracurricular activities niya. So, ang pinakamataas kapag tier 1 ka is 26,000 pesos ang matatanggap. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Diamond greetings. I'm Espinosa Mark Gabriel Ignacio, and today I'll present and explain this scholarship eligibility and amount calculation flowchart. This system collects student information, validates input data, checks scholarship qualification, and computes the final grant amount, and display all results clearly. Let's go through it by step. As you can see, this is a flowchart. As you can see here in this flowchart, we begin at the start terminal symbol. The process runs in this order. First, main entry. We input and read the student's name. We check, is this a valid name? And if no, we assign name is equal to valid name. And if yes, we move to the next line. And second is the grade entry. We input and read the student's grade. We check, is this the grade less than 99? And if no, we set grade is equal to 0. And if yes, we proceed. Third is the income entry. We input and read the annual family income. We check, is this a valid amount? If no, we set annual income is equal to 0. And if yes, we continue. Last is the extracurricular entry. We input and read the number of extracurricular activities. We check, is this a number greater than 10? If no, we set extracurricular is equal to 0. And if yes, we keep entered value and move to the validation. Logical data validation. Now, we check for the impossible negatives value. We test three conditions. Is grade is less than a 0? Is annual income is less than a 0? Or extracurricular activities is less than a 0? If any condition is true, we set invalid is equal to true. If none are true, we set invalid is equal to false. And next we check is valid is invalid is equal to true. And if yes, we set eligibility message to please enter valid requirements. Set amount is equal to 0. Then jump and straight to the final display step. If no, we proceed to check scholarship eligibility. Then proceed to the scholarship tier eligibility check. Now we verify the qualification for each other. First, check. Is grade is less than equal to 90 and annual income is greater than equal to 20,000. If yes, eligibility is equal to you are eligible for Tier 1 scholarship. Set base is equal to 10,000. If the first check fails, second check is grade less than equal to 90 and annual income greater than equal to 20,000. If yes, eligibility is equal to you are eligible for Tier 2 scholarship. Set base amount is equal to 8,000. If both check fail, eligibility is equal to not eligible, set amount is equal to 0. For the final scholarship amount calculation, we calculate additional funding. Check is amount is less than to 0 and extracurricular activities is less than 2. If yes, scholarship amount is equal to amount plus extracurricular activities minus 2 times 2,000. If no, scholarship amount is equal to amount. And the output and end, finally, the system displays all information in this order. Student name, grade, extracurricular activities, annual income, scholarship status, and final scholarship amount. To summarize, this flowchart follows a clear sequence: input collection, input validation, eligibility screening, amount computation, and result display. It automatically handles invalid entries and adjusts the grant base based on the extracurricular involvement. And that is the full explanation of this flowchart.
I'm Michael C. Estrada, and this is the algorithm for our scholarship evaluation system. Nagbibigins po siya sa pagdi-display ng program title and pag-aas po sa user ng name, average grade, annual family income, and also the extracurricular activities. And then, binabaldates din po ng program yung inputs by paglilimitate po ng grade to 99 and also po sa extracurricular activities which is 10. And next naman po doon ay ini-evaluate din po namin ng students eligibility for either tier 1 or tier 2 based po sa kanilang grade, annual family income. And after po namin ma-determine yung appropriate scholarship tier, yung program po ay kinukompute po niya yung scholarship amount including po yung additional incentives or extracurricular activities beyond 2. And lastly po dinidisplay po niya yung students information, scholarship status, and the final scholarship amount bago po i-end yung program. And that's all po.
So, the conclusion here is that scholarship evaluation system provides an automated and structured approach to evaluating student applications by balancing academic merit, financial need, and overall campus engagement. The program begins by safely gathering the applicant's details and screening out invalid entries or extreme values, ensuring the assessment remains fair and consistent. Based on these inputs, applicants are categorized into distinct tiers. Top tier standing is granted to students demonstrating high academic achievements alongside significant financial needs, while a secondary tier supports those maintaining satisfactory grades within the same income bracket on top of the foundational awards provided by the tier. Students are further rewarded with financial bonuses for actively participating in extracurricular activities. Ultimately, the system wraps up by delivering a clear, comprehensive breakdown of the applicant's overall profile, qualification status, and total financial support award. And so that is all for our scholarship program code. Thank you for listening.